Good morning, everyone. So, this morning I'd like to share out of the book of Galatians, chapter 5, and I'm going to read verses 16 and 17. But I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not carry out the desire of the flesh. For the flesh sets its desire against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. For these are in opposition to one another, so that you may not do the things that you please. So I read this, and it reminds me, and it tells me that I should always be thinking, what would Jesus do in all, actually not certain situations, but it should be in all situations, all circumstances, and everything that I do and say. Now, do I do that 100%? Unfortunately, no, I don't. But when you are having this mind of Christ set in your head, and you want to do things to please Jesus and please God, the Father, you're not going to want to do the things that are not of them. You're not going to want to do the worldly things, or you're not going to be so fixated, or you just gotta do it. Because if you're not thinking in the Spirit, then you run the risk of doing things that, well, you don't run the risk, you will end up doing things that are not of Jesus, are not of God. You'll end up, the danger of that is then you start creating idols and start serving them as opposed to Jesus Christ, following Jesus Christ. You start becoming, me-minded instead of God-minded, because the two don't walk together. The two are polar opposites of each other. Jesus wants, Jesus, thinking like Jesus and God, you want to love your fellow man, you want to help your fellow man. But if you're not living your life with a Christ-like mind, you are out to get everything that you can. You don't care who you step on, who you push down, who you humiliate. You're only concerned about what's in it for you and what can you gain from it. And where, like, another example would be when you're thinking with the mind of Christ, letting the Holy Spirit guide you. You are, you'll go out and help your fellow man, whether they be homeless, whether they're in a tragic situation right now, whether they're being persecuted by other people, made fun of, that kind of thing. You don't want to do that. But if you don't have the Christ in mind, and you are thinking with the mind of the world, you're going to be the one who joins the crowd in persecuting that person, or making fun of them, ridiculing them, or you're the one that's leading the charge in that. You're out to, instead of helping your fellow man who's hurting or who's out on the streets or who just suffered a great calamity, you'll, not only won't you help, but inadvertently you may say, I'm glad that's not me. I'm glad I'm not in their position, which is far from having compassion for the person in the situation. And that should be a big ouch to all of us, because if we're going to be truthful to ourselves, there have been times where, something tragic happens and instead of having compassion, I'm like, oof, I'm glad I wasn't in that situation. Better them than me, which is not the mind that I should have had about whatever the situation was. Because that's not Christ thinking. That's man thinking. So this verse just reminds me I need to be careful, because whatever I don't listen to Christ, I don't listen or yield to the Holy Spirit on things, and I get to start thinking about what's in it for me, I'm actually going against Christ and against God by ignoring the Holy Spirit's lead, pure and simple. God tells us, certain things through the Bible. The Bible shows us and tells us how to live. It is life's manual to us, a gift, a merciful gift from God. And the pinnacle of that gift is Jesus Christ coming down on the earth and living and fulfilling the scriptures that God had placed to man since the dawn of time, since Adam and Eve. So just take this verse and just kind of, keep it on your mind, because this verse kind of helps me, or two verses kind of helps remind me to kind of gauge where I'm at with my thinking on something, or with what I'm doing or planning to do or wanting to do. So, anyways, love you guys. Hope you have a blessed day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.